Hi, thanks for watching Devotionables, brief devotions for busy people. Today we put a bow on the book of Jonah. Our study's been a 5-part series, and so thankful you've been with us. Today we're doing part 5 in Jonah chapter 4. The prophet goes to school. He goes to the school of God's mercy. God is going to take him and teach him about the mercy of the Lord. Here's the thing. The prophet Jonah already has a good understanding of God's mercy. In fact, we find out that is indeed why he ran in the first place. The reason in chapter 1, which we don't find out until here in chapter 4, that Jonah ran from the Lord because he did not want to see God extend his mercy to the people of Nineveh. So, in chapter 3, we saw that Jonah went and he preached to the Ninevites, and it wasn't a stellar sermon. It was kind of like the bare minimum. And yet God worked through that to cut to the heart of the people of Nineveh that they sought the Lord. They turned from their violence. They turned from their wicked ways. They turned from their evil, looking to the Lord to forgive. And he did. He relented from the disaster he was going to bring upon them because he saw that they had humbled themselves and they turned from their wicked ways. And in verse 1 of chapter 4 it says, "But it displeased Jonah exceedingly, and he was angry. And he prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord, is not this what I said when I was yet in my country? That is why I made haste to flee to Tarshish. For I knew you are a gracious God and merciful, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love, and relenting from disaster." You know, this verse harkens in our minds this beautiful verse from Exodus chapter 34, verses 6 and 7. It's when the Lord would pass by Moses to display and to show and to demonstrate and to declare all his glory. The Lord, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love, gracious, compassionate. That's what we learned about the Lord from Exodus 34 when he showed Moses his glory. And Jonah knew that. So why doesn't Jonah want the Lord to show mercy to Nineveh? Well, the Ninevites were his enemies. These people were ruthless. They were violent. They had destroyed in some barbaric ways against the people of Israel. Jonah didn't want them to experience God's forgiveness. He wanted them to experience the wrath and the judgment of a holy God, which he felt like they deserved. The thing is, they did deserve it. Jonah also deserved it. You and I deserve the full, unmitigated wrath of a holy God. But thankfully, God is going to take Jonah to school, to the school of mercy. And not only do we know that God is gracious, he's slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love, wishing to show mercy to thousands. That mercy is not just for certain people. And what I mean by that, it wasn't just for Israel. That God's mercy was for all the nations. That God's mercy is for you. And it's not just for you, it's for your enemy. No doubt you probably think of someone in your life that has hurt you deeply. And for us to want to withhold God's mercy from them, that puts us in the camp of Jonah, where we would go and do anything other than to share with this individual or this group the possibility of God's forgiveness. Jesus tells the story to a Pharisee about two moneylenders. They were each forgiven. One was forgiven a small amount, and the other a large amount. And Jesus says, which one do you think loved him more? He says, the one who was forgiven the greater debt. He said, you're right. This lady here, the lady who had come in and was a sinner and was washing Jesus' feet and stuff, she loves me deeply because she's been forgiven much. And for those of us who have been forgiven much, We want to see that forgiveness extended to others. So it's not enough just to know that God is a merciful God and He will forgive me. But in God's school of mercy, we truly believe what Jonah had declared in Jonah chapter 2, verse 9, that salvation belongs to the Lord. He will show mercy on whom He will show mercy. And we pray for our enemies. That's what Jesus taught us. Show them mercy. And in a day and age, in 2020, when cultural tensions are at all-time high, it's easy to be like, oh, just judge them, Lord, judge them. And instead, we should pray, Lord, forgive them. You've forgiven me. Help me to be a conduit of your mercy. Let me not try to hoard your mercy for myself, but show your mercy to my enemies, because I was your enemy once too, Lord. And that is what the prophet learns in the God's school of mercy. Blessings to you today.